in the morning. It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. We anticipate the arrival of Indiana County District Attorney Bob Manzi. Meanwhile, State Police Public Information Officer Trooper Cliff Greenfield is with us this morning as we talk about mental health. It is May, being Mental Health Awareness Month, with a special emphasis in the nationwide observance on men's mental health. Trooper Greenfield here to provide some perspective from a legal standpoint and on how state police deal with mental health problems. It's really in the news lately, isn't it?
It is. It's certainly a leading topic in the newspaper and the radio world, as you know, and it needs to be talked about. I think we've had a combination of factors in society over the last few years that have brought this to the forefront, and we need to talk about it.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate your invitation to come in today.
Our conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, voted Best Personal Injury Law Firm in the Best of Indiana County contest. Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. When Police Chief Schall is with us, we often talk about how police address different topics through special training and special emphasis. And I'm sure with the way that mental health has been in the news, especially in terms of mass shootings, and people on streets who seem to have lost a bit of their edge, and they've just randomly attacked some folks. That state police pay special attention to that, and you're always keeping up to date on the latest techniques and the bulletins about what's coming out. What should we do in order to be better able to handle mental health issues?
Right. Certainly there's more training being offered now than when I got on the job back in 2005. We now have something called crisis intervention training that is offered to our troopers. I'm sure it's offered to many local police officers as well, giving us the tools and the knowledge really to better understand how to quickly assess and deal with someone in crisis, in mental health crisis, and also recognizing signs of aggression, which we're trained to recognize in the first place, but combining that with, is this person, showing aggression toward me or to someone else, or are they in crisis, or a combination of factors? And knowing that there are other agencies out there that we can lean on for help in those situations. And a lot of times we do contact other agencies for guidance and help and refer people to other agencies. We're fortunate here in Indiana County to have the crisis hotline. That is a 24/7 phone number for anyone to call if they are feeling like they may be in crisis themselves and they need someone to talk to. There are trained counselors there 24 hours a day willing to talk to you.
There are moments where the situation calls for immediate action, and that assessment protocol that you must go through as a trooper has to be that's where the training kicks in. It has to be almost instantaneous. You have to assess a situation and determine best course of action to diffuse what could be a very dangerous situation. You got to do it right away.
Right. We may have a split second to react to a scenario that's presented to us. I've been questioned just in casual conversation lately at different events. What are some things you look for? And I always say that I'm watching the person's hands. The hands are what can hurt me. Their hands are what can hurt someone else. So we're watching hands. We're watching for body language, posturing, because our job essentially is to keep everyone at that scene safe as best we can. Sometimes that means we have to employ force to keep the person safe from maybe harming themselves or from harming someone else, or certainly from harming us. If we're injured in the course of that encounter, then we are not available to help other people who may be a victim of an assault or to help that person in crisis as well.
Mental illness takes many different forms. And obviously you're a trained state police trooper, and your colleagues are trained in law enforcement. you didn't go to school for psychology or psychiatry or some of those other issues, but they become a part of what it is that you do, all with the overwhelming or overriding goal of keeping people safe.
Right.
When you find yourself in those situations, or let's put it this way, when ordinary citizens find themselves in situations where they've encountered somebody who's having some sort of mental illness type of event, what are the steps that they should take in order to, if not diffuse whatever it is that's going on, but at least keep everybody around them possibly as safe as they can?
You're speaking from the perspective of a law enforcement officer responding?
No, from the general citizenry. What does state
okay.
police recommend that people do when they're confronted by somebody who's having a mental health
Okay.
Event?
So I think first of all, it's very, very important to try and remain calm, to provide a calm presence, but at the same time, an impression that you're willing to help the person, but you're not going to let them, you're not going to allow yourself to become a victim in the situation either. Mm-hmm. So every situation is different. We encourage anyone who is encountering a situation like that to, if they feel that their own safety is in danger, to remove themselves from the situation. And when they're safe, call 911 and request help from local law enforcement, mental health services, and let the professionals deal with it. We don't necessarily want people to take action and intervene on their own if they can avoid that. We don't want those confrontations to occur if they can be avoided. So I hope that helps to answer your question.
Sure.
That calming presence can go a long way if you're comfortable speaking to the person and letting them know that you would like to help them. You're there, if you feel comfortable, you want to show some empathy. You want to give them some options, things along those lines.
The state has stepped in, especially when it comes to protecting schools and communities with a number of different tools in recent years. Mm-hmm. The See Something, Say Something system has become a really key part of the way that schools handle mental health problems.
Right. Yeah, the See Something, Say Something system is a very good system. It's working. It was designed to allow students in schools to anonymously report potential incidents of violence or threats. And what has happened over the years is those incidents are being reported and situations have been prevented. Crimes have been prevented through that system. But the majority of tips that come through that system from students are actually the students self-reporting a mental health concern, where they're reaching out for help for themselves or maybe for a friend, maybe someone who's been bullied, someone with suicidal ideation. The majority of those tips are things along those lines.
Wow. That's interesting information that the students are using that system and helping themselves and the others around them.
Right. And the way that works is, if you're not familiar with the system, it can be anyone can use it. You can download an app and you can report your tip through the app. You can call the hotline phone number for Safe to Say, or you can do it on their website. And when you submit a tip, it's received by, basically, as I understand, a call center in Harrisburg that's run by the Attorney General's office, staffed 24 hours a day. And the personnel at the call center can then directly interact with the tipster and ask them questions and make a determination as to, is this an issue that should be referred to the school administration directly? And if so, they can route that tip directly to the school threat assessment team and or law enforcement. And if it is determined to be a law enforcement issue, then it's routed to the county 911 center and then to the appropriate police agency for follow-up investigation.
In our news today, there's a threat that happened at River Valley on Tuesday night and into Wednesday, and state police were an extra presence at River Valley yesterday.
Right.
Was that a see something, say something tip, or was that some other way? Did you get that information in another manner?
I actually don't know how it was initially reported, but River Valley School District contacted us directly once they got the information that there were some threats made during phone calls to their students. So they reported it right away to us. We immediately initiated a criminal investigation. We're still continuing to investigate that. But there was a concern based on these threats from Tuesday night into yesterday, and so we had an extra presence of troopers at River Valley School District yesterday as a deterrent and also to reassure students and families and ensure their safety.
Yeah.
So as the investigation went on over Tuesday night into yesterday, we no longer believe there is any threat to the school district, but it is still an active criminal investigation.
Well, mental health might be a part of whatever it is that happened there, and the diligence to track down the information as best you can, conduct investigations, and if they do turn into a mental health situation, get the people that are involved the help that they need. That's part of the whole formula for dealing with mental health in this day and age.
Right. We want to refer people to other resources. Speak with your primary care physician. Call the crisis hotline. Talk with a friend or family member about what's going on in your life. If you have a trusted family member or friend, or if you attend a church, your pastor, your youth pastor. A lot of folks are hesitant to discuss, private things. So it's important to find someone who you can trust, who you can share those things with, and get some advice, and just as an outlet to help with your own mental health.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's State Police Public Information Officer Trooper Cliff Greenfield. Thanks for coming in today.
Sure. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
It is the voice of Indiana County. It's WCCS.